welcome, and what we're going to do this time is we're going to take a Dinky 355 Lunar Rover model, and rather than restoring it, I thought we'd try and do a little bit more of a makeover this time. So we're going to try and turn it into one of these. It's a Tioxide version made for the paint company that puts the coating on Saturn rockets and things like that, and probably given out at trade shows and to execs and things like that. So here we go.
Welcome to the shop, and we're going to do a Lunar Rover again. We did one earlier, which is just a reproduction of sort of the kit version, and we've got this one from eBay. But what we're going to do a little bit differently, rather than sort of put it back to the sort of standard model, we're going to make a sort of a rare Tioxide model, which pretty rare, and not many of them around. So make a little bit of a change. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take the screws out. It starts to come apart quite easily. There's the back off. And this comes apart. Each of these like wheel units come off. One of the astronauts, one of the other ones. And each of the little linkages inside, and that kind of pulls off. And there we have it. So the first thing we're going to do is put these into some paint stripper. And this is the disassembled Rover in all its various components, just prior to going into the paint stripper. So we've got the four wheels separated there. All those go into the tank. Box. Just put all the part. No need to clean them. They're going to go straight in. That stuff will take all the paint off. Same with this bit. Looks like someone's been playing around with emulsion on that one. Goes in, and we'll have the covers as well. Just see if we can clean those up. We're also going to put the we'll save the little guys. We're going to put those. We're just going to clean those with some sauce Figa. So for now. Paint stripper. I'm just going to agitate these with an old toothbrush, just to get it covered over everything. And then we'll leave these and come back and see what's happened. So the next thing we need to do is just clean these up. We've got just a bowl of water here. We can drop them in that. Should do the trick. We're going to give these little astronauts a quick clean in this before we put the messy stuff in. What we do really with these is get the bulk of the paint off. And we've also got a small copper brush, we'll just use to get some of the paint off. So what we're really doing is getting most of the stripper off, and then let them dry, and then the paint will come off a lot easier as well. Same with the tyres. They got really shiny once they've been in a bit of paint stripper. So you can see that that's fairly well stripped, and the paint just like flakes off. So let those dry, clean them up a little bit more, and then we're going to start painting them. There's one thing before we get onto the actual sticker, was to clean these guys up. they're pretty filthy actually. Looks like they've been buried in mud at some point. And what we're going to do is, this stuff is absolutely fantastic. It's like orange Swarfiga. You can buy it still from a few places, and it's kind of like a really good detergent for cleaning up vinyl. Use it on motorbike seats and things like that as well. So give that a squidge. Again, another toothbrush, and just rub that in, and then we leave that for about 15 minutes before just washing it off. It really gets into all the nooks and crannies. Now, on these Rover, this one, the Tioxide one, which as you've seen from some pictures, is white with a logo across the front. So we're going to make a logo out of some of this vinyl sheet, and we're going to use the silhouette cutter to cut out a tiny logo to stick that on the front, and I'm going to show you how to do that now.
So we've got a picture of a Rover from the internet, and we're going to grab just the portion we're interested in here, which is the logo, and we're going to rotate it. And there's also a function called skew, which allows you to sort of adjust the trapezoidal look of it, basically make it square, and eventually you end up with, it takes a bit of messing around, but you end up with a logo like this one here, and we're going to use that in silhouette. So silhouette, we start off and we import the graphic, then we select a trace, and we mark out the area that we want to trace, and then we apply the cut, and that gives us this cut mask, which we're going to use to actually cut out the vinyl. We have to resize this to the size we want, so I think it's around about 5mm high, and then try and make sure that the width is good as well. Now we just have to send it to the printer with the send command.
So this is the silhouette ready to print, and if you haven't seen one of these in operation, I'll just lift up the lid, and we'll send the print to it. This is really good for like large stickers and things, but it works down to letters around about sort of 4 or 5mm high, so it can be quite intricate as well. And we can just press eject, and then I'll show you what we do with those next. So once we've got the stickers printed out, we've got to try and pick out all these little bits. We'll take these off first. So I managed to get one of these off, and we're just going to cut this out the sheet. And then we use some stuff that's called transfer tape. So let's get rid of this bit of plastic vinyl around the edge. Get rid of that. So this is sort of like a semi-sticky plastic. And the idea with this is you separate it like that, place it over
It's home.
So these are all the parts, all cleaned up and waiting to get some primer on them, and then we're going to sort of retouch the astronauts as well. So the base parts are now primered, and the next step will be to give them a white top coat. So we've got the parts all painted up in white, and ready for assembly. So we've got the wheels set up and we're going to spray them with the Molotow chrome. So and this gives them a really nice chrome finish. You can see the finish on those. It's a real authentic chrome looking finish. So we're going to place the decal that's made onto the front of this, and this is with this transfer tape. So the way this works is that when we lift it up, it should lift up all the lettering, sticky back vinyl, in one piece, hopefully, like that. So now we've got the sticky back on this, which is sort of low tack, and we place it into position like so. Well, finally got it off. Had to resort to a scalpel and an eyeglass, and couldn't get the camera between me and the decal. But there you go. That's now on. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to give this a coat of clear lacquer just to seal it, because it's only sticky back vinyl, so it's not necessarily the strongest of adhesive. Now this should be pretty straightforward to put back together again. Going to start with putting the tyres on, and they just slip on. Next thing, I'm going to take the top plate and lay these in. This seems to be the easiest way to do this, because we've also got a steering bar to go in. So that kind of hooks in like that. That sits in top of that. There's a question of trying to balance all four like so, while we put the seats and base in. Next is we put these it's a battery cover at the back and solar panel at the front. So hold those in, and then the screw goes in, it goes into that panel. astronauts just push it in. 1, 2, and then there's a small cover that goes onto the steering handle. Pushes on, and there we have the Tioxide version Rover finished. One tip I'd have about painting this is that I decided to paint it in this Halford's paint, which is called Appliance Gloss White, and I don't recommend using that. So for best results, do not use this. It takes ages to dry. It seems to be affected by lacquers. I really don't know what's in it, but it's definitely not as good as just a normal car paint for one of these. Just so a gloss diamond white Ford or something would just be just as good, and this would be going in the bin. Thanks.